they're getting booty.
He said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carry what they mean. And
you can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Small Town Underground on this little Sunday night live stream that we're doing. As you can see, I have Antonio Jones from Gwinnett War Room with me this evening, and we are going to talk a little bit about the Patriots for Colton Rally that we're having down at the Georgia Capitol on Tuesday, January the 28th. How are you doing, Antonio?
Hey, man. I'm doing great. Excited as always. Just happy to be here to live to fight another day and do what we can for our great state of Georgia and for the country.
That's right. That's right. If you guys are new here, this is War Room Gwinnett County with Antonio Jones. He has a show. You need to go check that out. I did post a link up in the comments, and I'm Small Town Underground. We're working together throughout the state through other podcasters, other people, other news people, patriots to help save our state from the corruption. So we welcome everybody here this evening. So give me your thoughts, man. How's the last few days been?
It's been great. Seeing Tom Holman ramp things up.
Yes.
Right up here in Gwinnett County, the public school system put this long statement out. There's supposed to be some type of hearing or something. They're trying to reassure people that, without saying that they'll be protected or whatever, I guess from this, the things that ICE is doing. But I mean, I'm gonna read through it on Wednesday, man, but it's crazy to see that. And it's kind of like a admittance that we have a illegal alien problem in all over the state, but in Gwinnett County. So yeah. That Tuesday is going to be, that meeting is going to be, I believe, next month on the 27th, but don't quote me on that. We'll be doing some postings. Right. But between seeing that, just seeing how hard Trump is rolling, we've been excited since like the day after election. We got on the phone and everything like that, had a conversation, but it just lets me know that, hey, we've took the White House. We got to take these state houses, and we got to aim for this leadership position. And I'm specifically talking governor. I mean, there are different other seats, and we'll get further into that and get your thoughts on that. But Trump's agenda can either be advanced by what we do here on the state level, and I know we got a lot of different problems that have cropped up in counties all over the state. But I really believe that if we focus on getting an America first governor that is going to fight for the state, and it's going to have to be too big to rig. That's just my opinion. So we're going to need that same rollout. So that's my soapbox right now. What are your thoughts, Roy?
Well, I kind of want to touch on immigration again for just a second because, I've worked with a lot of Hispanics over being in the union, rod busting, worked with a lot in manufacturing, and there's a narrative out there. Obviously this whole immigration thing is quite scary, and I don't want to go too deep in the weeds about it. But if I was born in South America or one of these countries, I would have crossed that border illegally, right? Because of the American dream. Like I'm trying to squash this narrative here that this is somehow racist or somehow something that it goes against of immigration. Like we kind of get painted that we don't want immigration and stuff. I want to say first and foremost that if I was in one of those countries and had a chance to cross over that border, I would have crossed over that border. Okay. I make that very clear. I would have probably risked life and limb to have my family here illegally. All right. So what I mean by that is that part of this is to blame of our own government and the decades of abuse from the actual law of the land, the constitutional law, the immigration laws, how we've been purposefully flooded in this country. And under the guise of we know that the Biden administration was bringing in some of the worst. We know that some of these countries were emptying out their prisons and bringing in tons and tons of criminals. That being said, it's a perfect opportunity to lump all this together and to make the optics of this look so much worse than they really are. I don't think that there's any red-blooded American that wants to see families torn apart. I don't think there's any of us that want to see people be hurt through this or be displaced for that matter. But my point about all this immigration is that it's at a point to where it's gone way too far, and it has to be dealt with. And I'm thankful that we have an administration that is willing, and not only willing but already doing this. But I want to send a very clear message out to people, especially people that I know in the Hispanic community, that at some point all of this has to be fixed, right? And there's no way that you can continue the normalcy of an open border and what we've had coming through. It's got to be done. And these narratives that the Democrats and the mainstream media try to paint, like it's the same way with the school board. If you go up against the school board, they say, "Oh, you're against the kids." No, I don't know anybody that's against legal immigration whatsoever. None whatsoever. And what you've seen the Trump administration do, they're going after the criminals. They're going after the criminal invaders that have come in, that have records, that are in cartels, that are connected to all rapes and robberies and murders. Those are the people that they're targeting. And I think they're up to, last I checked, at least 850 they've already got. So I just want to, I send my thoughts and prayers out to everybody who may be affected by this. But at some point, we need to face the truth and realize that not only does it has to stop, but it has to stop for good. We have to maintain borders. We have to maintain a system of immigration that's free and fair for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely, I agree. And the reason why people want to come to America is because historically we have been a sovereign country of law and order. Okay, well, what does all of that mean? It means that we have to respect the laws as they're written, and anybody that has people or connected to people that have come here illegally, you're actually violating the very thing that makes America the country that it is.
Right.
So, like Roy said, and we stress to you, it's not about not wanting any immigration at all. It goes back to that thing, law and order. That's what keeps the structure of a civil society together, and that's why America has been historically a great country, and everybody wants to come, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to do this. This should be done the right way, because here's what happens when people come here and they're not doing it the right way. Well, you've got north of 67% of illegal aliens that are getting on government assistance. Okay, what does that mean? The American people are the backbone of this country. We are the the full faith and credit of the country. So it means that the working class people have to be strong in order for the pillars of society to remain strong. So, but if people are sneaking across the border and then they're hitting the food stamp office, they hitting the hospital, healthcare, you're pretty much stretching out so many Americans, because this is taken from our tax money. We know that you're doing something that's logical in your own mind, but the bottom line of this is it's being destroyed when it's not being done the right way. And I fought our federal government for the last 4 years, who have invited people in knowing that this is not being done the right way, right, and actually ruining an opportunity that they could have someday of coming here the right way.
You're correct. I liken it to, I've worked next to, right alongside, became good friends with people that were not legal. I have kept people out of jail with warrants, right, and tried to help them. But sooner or later, those kinds of things are going to catch up to you. You can't just, you can't just delete a warrant or something like that. I mean, this is what has got to happen in order to pull back from this culture of mass migration, where it's done on purpose to hurt the normal citizens, including all, every race, every culture. And if we're going to be the America that we need to be, we're going to have to enforce border laws. We're going to have to enforce legal immigration. And I could get into a whole myriad of things, and I'm not going to, but I'll give you a perfect example. We're spending billions of dollars to fund wars. Why aren't we taking billions of dollars and going down to Mexico, where all of our American companies have put these huge, warehouses and these huge companies in right across the border, where literally people are making pennies on the dollar, all right, and living in like shanties, but they don't have any running water. I mean, it's 2025, for God's sakes. Like, why are we not investing in helping Mexico get away from these drug cartels, Mexico get away from all the illegal activity, and actually helping build their communities up? Nobody would want to leave those communities, So it's a whole lot of things going on. But like I said, look, this is what may not be the most comfortable thing in this country, but it's what is very much needed at this time. So
yeah, and what you said is very logical, but the reality is that government thrives on broken things, and the more things that they can mitigate, I would say, continuing to be broke or continuing to fracture over time, even if it's people that are living like you just described, they get to expand and thrive. And I agree with you 100%. If we can throw all this money into useless wars, after we take care of America first and make sure America's good, hey, let's take a few dollars, go down and invest in factories or something like that in Mexico. Get a government a helping hand down there so that these people have an opportunity, to have a culture or opportunity to have a good civil society amongst themselves, so they can add to, just the world in general, and have a better quality of life. That's right. And they can do that on their own. If you look at the workforce in America, I mean, you can look at these things. These people that's by large building all these construction are either illegal or on some type of H-1B visa or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, if they have all these trade skills, there's other foreign people coming to America to want to work or want an opportunity or whatever. It needs to be done the right way. But the same set of skills could be applied, in their own country.
That's right.
They don't have to be living in these type of huts and stuff that that you described.
And what runs these countries? See, South American, it's the drug cartels, right? It's the drug cartels. You either be a drug runner, you be involved in the cartel in some way, or you might wind up dead somewhere. Either way, right? We've got to curtail that culture. A lot of the reason why that the border's always been so porous is because the American government loves drugs coming in this country. It's obvious. I'm not talking about everybody, but obviously some of our three-letter organizations have made a ton of money off of promoting and flying in drugs all over this nation and hurting communities and races, and everybody's been affected by this. And now we have this fentanyl epidemic that I pray to God Trump gets on as quickly as possible. But one of the biggest steps is cutting off that southern border, and we stop all these cartels from bringing in drugs. It's that simple. So
yeah. I couldn't agree more. I'm very excited to see that going on. And illegals should this the thing, like, they put us kind of like in a, not really a catch-22. If you bring your kids here and you cast them out or whatever, they should swab these people's mouths, and if it's illegal in school, swab the mouth, find out, let's match this person back up with their family, or at least at bare minimum, if it's a child and they've been separated from the parent, let's at least get this on record, because that's there. And again, another crime that has been committed outside of crossing the border. You got child abandonment,
right,
that has occurred. There are going to be all kind of social problems that may be associated with the child psychologically, and then the net negative of this child being in the school system, with being psychologically damaged. There again, the American people and those children may suffer some fallout behind that too as well. It's not just about saying, hey, let's grab the children, let's just throw them anywhere, but we have to take care of our children first and make sure they're protected. There are so many things that come along. The average American right now, look at inflation. The school system is the largest probably line item expense that we have on our taxes. I'm here with a family of 5 in my house, self-employed, and to be quite frankly and honest, I don't want to pay for somebody else's kid, to go to school and do all this stuff if they're not an American citizen. That should be my prerogative, my right, and my choice whether I do that or not. And I wouldn't want to do it because I just think it's illegal on its face.
Sure. Yeah, everybody has compassion. Compassion is an emotional thing. What the difference between that is you have to separate your emotion from what's right and what's wrong and what needs to be done. And this has gotten so far out of hand, it has to be dealt with. And I'm thankful that they're dealing with the criminals first. I'm thankful of what the job they're doing. And so far, it looks like there's dignity there, the way that they're going about this. So I just can pray that it continues that way, because I know that the further this goes on, the more exacerbated it's going to get.
Yeah, it will. And let's just put it on the record. Tom Homan is a classy man. He's very lawful. He loves this country, but he has a job to do, and we have to remember that. His job is to protect and serve who? The American people and the American people first.
Are you saying that this new administration is actually like following the law and doing what they're supposed to be doing? I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to pull something up real quick. I know we can't show it, but it's very short, and I want to read it. And it has something to do with immigration. And I believe okay, here we go. So this is the credit for this is Constitution, but Gwinnett Accountability Project. Shout out to Mary Bell and
yes, been following them.
So they did a tweet, and it had a section of the Constitution. So the top title is Bringing in and Harboring Certain Aliens. Okay, so this is U.S. Code 132.4, I guess Section A, 1A. And it says, any person who encourages or induces an alien to come to, enter, or reside in the United States, knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact that such coming to, entry, or resident is or will be in violation of law and shall be punished as provided. Okay. Then it has some direction down here. Say in prisons, you'll be in prison for up to 5 years, basically. In the case of a violation in which the offense was done for the purposes of commercial or financial gain, you could be in prison up to 10 years. Okay. There's another section. In the case of violation during and in relation to which the person causes serious bodily injury to or places in jeopardy the life of any person, you could get up to 20 years. Okay. In the case of violation that resulting in death of any person, be punished by death or in prison for any term of years or life.
Wow.
Okay. In the United States versus Hansen, 599 U.S. 762, 2023, the U.S. State Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of the statute and affirmed a 20-year sentence of Hellerman Hansen for multiple counts of mail fraud, wire fraud, and encouraging inducing illegal immigration for financial gain. Okay, so I'm going to retweet this again on War Room GC. So if you guys are watching from X and on X, or if you're not on X, you can go on here and find it. And I'm going to tag Small Town Underground so he can get this out too. This is law. This is law. It's plain in black and white.
Yep. And these illegal immigrants shouldn't even be in this position in the first place. So we got a lot of cleanup to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into any more weeds, because boy, we could just get into weeds. I want to go ahead and talk about the main topic for tonight, and I'm going to bring this flyer up real quick. So this is what we have going on here, folks. This is what a lot of people are probably tuning in about. Sort of a disclaimer that we're going to, what this is it's pretty unorganized. It's a Patriots for Colton rally that's happening at the Capitol Tuesday, which is this coming Tuesday, January 28th at 9 a.m. And so I just want to kind of lay out what exactly is going on, and we'll read this little paragraph here. It says, "Bring your camera, phone, signs, and meet with the Patriots from all over the state to walk with State Senator Colton Moore of District 53 from the Senate chamber to the joint session in the House chamber. We, the people, will make sure that this gold dome hears us loud and clear, and that they cannot and will not silence the citizens of the 53rd or anyone else. The Constitution is the law of the land, and we stand firm and proud with Senator Moore." So basically, I just kind of wanted to lay this out. If anybody is wanting to go, Antonio and myself will both be down there filming. I know I've talked to several people. First and foremost, I want to reiterate the fact that what this is we're not planning on going down to the Capitol and we're harassing our legislators or, showing out in any disrespectful way. What this is this is a simple rally for Colton Moore to go into the chamber. So people have asked me, are they going to allow him into the chamber? And yes, the Speaker, John Burns, has already came out publicly and stated that he will be allowed in the chamber for this joint session. So I want to make it really clear to everybody out there that we're not going down to the Capitol to have any disrespect, or we're simply going down there and we're going to line up like Patriots. And when Colton walks through in the line to go into that door, we're going to cheer him on. And that's pretty much it, folks. They're all going into this joint session, and after that, the door is closed. We're not allowed in. And we're going to show our support. So this is going to be a very positive experience. If you plan to come down to the Capitol and pick a fight with somebody, or you're wanting to run your mouth to anybody, that you're on your own. You're responsible for your own actions, because you have to understand something, folks. Like, we deal with things one step at a time, and I think both of us have shown a lot of people around the state that you don't have to fear the Capitol. You can go in and be respectful, and you can take your camera and you can talk to people. If nobody wants to talk on camera, they'll tell you they don't want to talk on camera. You're not going to be busting in people's offices and doors. They'll simply stop you and tell you, this is as far as you can go. It's an open public place, constitutionally speaking, for freedom of speech. So we've been down there several times. We've made several interviews, and had a great time doing it. And you can have grown-up discussions with anybody you want, but we want to make this really, really clear that we're going down here. This is a pep rally for Colton Moore, and that's all that it is. Okay, so, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to Antonio. There's a lot of people that shared it, a lot of people that are going, and that's basically it.
Georgia Freedom Caucus.
Yes.
You can get in touch with Mallory too as well. We're excited definitely about coming down because we'll have an opportunity, like Roy said, to interview you guys.
That's right.
We want to get you on camera. You can do your own thing or whatever the case may be, but we want to hear from you. And like he said, we'll just, I like to call it the support for Colton, but it'll also be a meetup for other Patriots to be there.
Yes.
Hopefully exchange information to get together. Hopefully this won't be I don't think this will be the last time that we get together, but it's also in my view a celebration of being able to see other Patriots that want to fight for the state of Georgia to help make Georgia great again. And we have to support our legislators or the individuals that are trying to do the right thing.
That's right.
We have to be bold and, speak loudly in support of them as well. So I'm super excited about being down there.
Yeah, you're 100% right. So you and me last time, I just posted the video yesterday. It's making the rounds of we finally got a chance to sit down and go back to the opening day legislation because obviously this arrest kind of put everything on hold. But going back through that material, we stopped a couple of senators that were, Sam Carnline was talking to one of them. We were able to get a little interview in with him, and we talked to another one. And, I went back and I'm looking at their scorecards and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? If they're willing to talk to us on camera and answer our questions, that's a big step forward because a lot of these people aren't used to just getting stopped and asked these questions. And so I want to send like a special shout out to Senator Harbin and Senator, what was the other guy's name?
Dixon came
Dixon.
on. Shout out Clint.
Yeah, Clint Dixon. I thank y'all for taking the time to just talk to us and answer questions. They may not have the answer. They may not, maybe not even what we want to hear, but the fact that we're engaging with each other lets them know that the public is watching what's going on and we're there and we want to see these things happen, come into fruition. So I appreciate that. But that's also your chance to meet up with the people. And I like what you said, man. It's a great meetup spot right there at the Capitol. Especially, I love it when I see somebody that I don't even know, but I've known through social media, and when you get to meet them for the first time, it's a wonderful experience. So I'm super excited for this.
It is. It is. And also, it's a demonstration and letting people know that, we're not going. You always say all the time, we're not going back to bread and circus. That's kind of how we got here, and the thing's just kind of been driving itself. And we're coming into the fold,
right?
And we would love to, we like to build people up. I don't delight in getting on here, yelling about some legislator or hey, the legislator's not doing that. No, we'd much rather be saying, hey, that bill Clint Dixon signed on to, or whoever, Mitchell Horner, whoever. We'd rather be patting these guys on the back, telling them, but we have lost, in my view, our anchor. Okay, what's the anchor? Okay, you're a lawmaker, so the Constitution is your anchor. It's just like ministers. The anchor is supposed to be the word of God for the minister. So hey, it's right here in black and white. Let's see. You have to be what's called instant in season, when it's popular, and you have to be instant when it's out of season, when it's not popular. And right now, from what I've been hearing around, and I've talked to some leaders, and it's quite disappointing that the Republican Party on some levels have gotten away from the Constitution, and they view guys like Colton Moore as radical. How crazy is that? You're a lawmaker. The Constitution is what? The supreme law of the land. And
they'll laugh at you. You bring up the Constitution nowadays, they go, oh, it's one of them constitutional nut jobs. And that's how far we've fallen from our law of the land and where we're supposed to be. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that is the guideline. So if we're in some debate or something like that, we have a reference point, to go back to, hey, how does this tie in with what my liberty score should be, or my John Birch Society constitutional
Amen.
score for what's best. Is this vote that I'm taking going to give less rights and freedoms to my constituents and other constituents across this state of Georgia? That should be your guiding compass.
That's
you
right.
know, and we now seen, people like me, people like you, people like Colton Moore, Charlize Byrd. They seem like radicals, but we're not radical. We want to follow the rules. They want to follow the rules, and the Constitution lets you know what direction that we should be going in.
All right, so you just nailed something perfectly. So I'm going to bring up the BKP episode we watched. All right, laying out how
Pritchard did a great job.
he did
Through the history of everything. He did an excellent job.
And it really goes and shows you how little time the Republicans have had control of things. But you take a look at, first off, I'm trying to get people to understand, like, never mind Colton Moore, just put any person in that position. But before that, you look at these voting scores. He's got the highest voting score conservatively that you could pretty much have, and he's considered a radical in his party, right? It's because the business as usual has always been done in this uniparty, unilateral way for so long. That's the way the bills are written up. That's the way they're used to everything. They're not used to somebody coming in and bucking the system, right? But look, I've seen not so many, but I've seen several people that have come out across social media and try to explain away how Colton Moore was wrong. And what I want people to do, just for a second, is take Colton Moore out of that situation. All right, put whoever you want in that position. Let's use Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, for example. Right, every time I see a twit of her, I said twit. Every time I see a tweet or like a video or her Instagram, it's some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen. Right. What she's saying when she was last week about Elon Musk, and then it's always the dumbest like take on something that you could get, right? She deserves to have the freedom of speech to say that, okay? This is simply a matter of where are your boundaries for constitutional duty. You take Colton Moore, some people just cannot stand Colton Moore. Well, put whoever your favorite person is in that position, whether it be a Democrat or a liberal or an independent, and you tell me, look at it from that lens and tell me if this situation was handled correctly and that constitutional rights weren't violated. Because simply put, it's always about a distaste for Senator Moore. It's never about the actual issue itself. And I mean, come on, guys. I'm not up here cheerleading because it was my senator. I like my senator. I'm going to support my senator. But you put anybody else in there, and that was a constitutional violation of freedom of speech and derelict of duty, because he was supposed to be in that chamber. And the court system will prove that. But I just want everybody to kind of remember that. Just because you don't like the person doesn't mean that they should be silenced, and especially when they're representing 200,000 people. So
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure.
Because I had an interesting conversation today, and the gentleman that I was speaking to is a Republican, and I believe he served in the state legislature in the House or something, or did he? Anyway, he's had governmental positions serving, and I sent him some of the stuff that we filmed and all of that, and you know who the problem is? Colton Moore's the problem.
Is it? Okay.
Colton's the problem. So I said, well, why is Colton the problem? Can you explain to me and break it down why there's a problem with Colton Moore? Because what the people see is a guy whose voting record speaks for itself, and he stood up and he speaks truth to power. Here's the response. Well, the Republican Party, this is that word, the Republican Party is here. Colton Moore is here, and Colton wants, Colton's here, and here's the Constitution. He's with the Constitution, but here's where the Republican Party is on this side. So Colton Moore wants everybody to jump over here.
Oh, really?
The Constitution. And I said, wait a minute. I said, hold on. So you mean to tell me that it's a problem with Colton Moore wanting to be a constitutionalist? This is coming from other lawmakers. Wait, let's keep in mind the Constitution is what? The supreme law of the land. And if legislators won't respect it, then why do we need them?
Well, we've obviously seen that, Antonio. Look, what we saw, what we witnessed with this whole ordeal, because mind you, we've seen the videos, we've seen Burt Jones, we've seen his statement, and then we've seen the video where he kind of side hustles on in that door real quick while looking around. We know that the day before there were some letters exchanged, right? Because the Senate had already had a resolution about this. Neither side was backing down. Okay, so obviously, this, I'm not even going into like conspiratorial territory where this could have been a gang situation, but the people could have put a stop to it. The top brass could have put a stop to this immediately. So they're sending a clear message to a Colton Moore, like, back off, Jack. We got this. But what we saw was the separation between what the people have, the people's layer, and then that step above where this is not your office, this is my office. This is the way we govern. This is our capital, not your capital. I mean, it was a clear message to everybody, frankly, that they're on an upper level that we can't even get to. And that's the real travesty here, is that we've let our government run amok to where not only do they not respect the people and they laugh at us when we talk about Constitution, but when you have a legislator like Colton Moore or Charlize Byrd or other people that are willing to step out of that box, right? They're already, that. What do we always said? They sit you down and they say, hey, you either go along with us and get along and everything's going to be great, or else we're going to make your life you know what. We saw that. We got to witness that, and the world is now watching it, that's how our government structure really works. And it's not acceptable.
Yeah. Well,
we're going to have to find people to get rid of this machine. This machine cannot be allowed to stand any longer. There is right ways to do these things, and we are doing everything we possibly could the wrong way, and it's got to stop.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
It's wild.
Yes, it is.
It's wild.
So I wanted to bring this up real quick, too. So Salty Georgia, I'm not sure who Salty Georgia is, but this came across Twitter, so I want to pick your brain about this. I'm pulling this picture up. So it says, "Make Georgia great again, Colton Moore for governor 2026." So I've seen a few of these memes, kind of making their rounds. What do you make of all this? Could there be possibly a Colton Moore for governor of Georgia?
Well, this goes back to the problem that we've had as far as watching play out with Colton. I mean, essentially, who is supposed to decide? The people are supposed to decide. The people are supposed to decide who their candidates are. The people are supposed to decide what are going to be the top issues, what legislation and different issues that need to be brought forth to pass laws and everything like that. So if the people call Colton Moore, or if they say we want Burt Jones, or if they say, hey, I buy into Chris Carr, or whomever else comes forward,
Jeff Fulgham,
that the people's voice be heard loud and clear, and that we're able to have debates and not censor and silence one another, which is what we saw with the situation that played out with Colton Moore at the Capitol. We have to get back to the debates. What's going to rule the day? What are the sets of principles? Or is it the Constitution? Or what agenda do we have? Is it going to be election integrity going into a session? And I think to answer your question is the people should decide. They should decide who they want based on, and this is my opinion now, it should be based on what the state needs.
Sure. Absolutely. And we're to that point, right? We know beyond a shadow of a doubt as we continue into this year, right? Everything will be laid out. We know that we have an establishment machine that's planning on playing musical chairs up and down at the Gold Dome. We know that people are positioning themselves, and the only way that we can fight against this, because I'm going to tell you, some of these people are completely irredeemable because they'll run from you, they won't talk to you, they won't make a statement, they won't lift a finger to right the wrongs that are being done. But, I mean, we've got to find grassroots people that are willing to stand up and say enough's enough. And because it's Colton is one person in the Senate. Charlize is one person in the House, right? We need 50 of these bodies. We need 50 of these people in order to make the differences we need to make. So, obviously, I like the sound of Colton Moore running for governor, right? I mean, it'd be exciting. I don't know. I don't know where that will lead.
I mean, okay, let's go to this, and then we'll come back to why what you said is so significant. What all did they try to do to President Trump? They tried to bankrupt him. They tried to silence him
twice,
kicking him off Facebook, doing this and that. They tried to put the man in jail. They tried to kill him.
Sexual, business
all
deals.
Yep, tried to take him off the ballot. And they even tried to kill the man.
Twice at least.
Trump raised the bar, right? And people know they want a fighter to stand up right now who wants what? Law and order. Where's law and order established from? Okay, the Constitution. And in the state of Georgia right now, hey, what did they do to people like Colton Moore? They try to put the man in jail. How does Colton Moore vote? Well, it's usually more times than not aligned with the Constitution, aligned with law and order, aligned with stepping into the moment and telling the truth.
And simple.
And that is what people are thirsting for right now. They don't want to have somebody that's cowardice saying, "Oh, okay, well, we'll get them the next time," or "Hey, da 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 da." No, the person that tries to do and fights to do the right thing most or all of the time is who the people of Georgia probably want. I mean, that's what I would want.
And simple, I might add, because you've got more peasants like me that are actually printing off bills and reading them. And for the first time, and I've seen this past year through our social media, I had probably more than 100 people reach out to me about these referendums on the bill. You know, I voted in every single election since I was old enough, and I've never had a referendum explained to me, ever, up until this year. I started looking at them in 2022, but we still didn't cover referendums. My point is that we go to these ballot boxes, and we cast our ballot, and we vote down ballot, and when we get there, that's the first time we're hearing about this referendum and that referendum and whatever it is, right? So this year, that broke the mold. We sat down and went through these referendums. In fact, one show with Colton was here. We went through the referendum. So I had a commissioner that helped me go through a referendum. The complexities of our laws and these bills that are being written, which is done on purpose, I might add, but it's meant to confuse people and bore people, and nobody wants to take a look at it. You know, I've been doing research on the Georgia tax court that will come out sooner or later. We've talked about, you know, the Brian K. Pritchard. He had Steve Gooch, Senator Gooch, on the show, and they covered all of this stuff about the tax referendum, where people were getting so confused, and really showed why they shouldn't opt out of it, right? Now, you might like it or dislike it, but it's there. But my point is that all of this stuff is so complex, and I think that part of moving forward and getting rid of, dismantling this establishment machine is dismantling some of this complexity, whether it be taxes or mental health or anything like that. And we need to get back down to basics, you know, just because it's that way on purpose, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Let's see here.
What else you got?
Well, I don't have much more. We're not going to stay on too long.
Can we speak to this? Because I've gotten an interesting text, and I know me and you, we always talk about this behind the scenes.
Sure.
I don't want to call it infighting, but we need to, as a party, we have to stay focused on the goal and the task at hand. It's too much high school behavior going on here, my opponent. Hey, if you talk to this person, don't talk to me, or whatever the case may be. We need to. This party needs to start acting like adults. The most important work is the work. Not what somebody's doing down the street and all of that. And trust me, and I tell people all the time, look, if you can come to me saying, hey, if you talk to this person, then I don't want to talk to you, then guess what? We don't need to talk. Because number one, you're not going to tell me who I'm going to talk to, deal with, and associate. The work should be the most important thing. The work should be the most important thing that we're trying to get done. Man,
you just hit the nail on the head. So it's no secret. I've told you when I first started this show, I used to get guests on, and I get phone calls and text messages from people. Hey, just want to let you know, and then I would get into this group and that group, and then all it is bickering and fighting, and we hate this person, can't stand it. Yeah, I'm not going to get in the middle of any of that. And I know you just already said it. Like, we're going to run this thing based on the truth, based on what we can bring out to help move things forward. If that includes one person on here and somebody over here, doesn't matter to me. You ain't hurting my feelings a bit, because I'm not bought and paid for, neither are you. We are going to move forward regardless. And that's specifically why that I've took myself out of some of these groups and these chats, because I don't want to be a part of all that bickering and fighting. In a lot of ways, you can pick up good information, but if you just continually burn bridges with people, and you get involved in situations that don't involve you, that's where people mess up, because they feel like they got an angle or they can jump in. And no. We won't let people fight their own fight, but we're going to continue to try to move forward together, because that's the only way. Look, it goes back to grassroots. If you want change, right? And I've said this 100 times. If the only person you got is X who's been there, all right, who's been there and has got all the money and all the power, and we don't have somebody that we can elevate, right, that we can set up there and say, this is who we want to see, right? We've got no reason to gripe. We have to start standing up, and we have to start producing people that we can believe in, that's going to be different than the status quo. And if we can't, as a grassroots effort, as a movement, if we can't come together and find those people, right, and elevate them, then we've got no leg to stand on. All we're doing is keyboard warriors over here. We're just griping and complaining for no reason. Okay? These people aren't just going to multiply out of thin air. We've got to get behind people. We have to. Yeah. We got to stick to the goal, stick to the principle. Yeah. And, we both run podcasts, so people are in our ear, like I said, this person and that group of people, they broke off. They got a group over here. That person's got a group over there, and everybody's running around. Nobody's heading kind of like there's no strategy, because there's no coordination, because this person don't want you to talk, or trying to convince you not to talk to this person over here, because they had some thing that they're going through. That's right. That's just, we can't roll like that. I'm not going to roll like that. No, and you know what? I challenge anybody out there that might come to the Capitol Tuesday, right? Since it's going to be a great, wonderful experience. So we already got Donald Trump elected. We've already seen a whirlwind week of a complete change in this nation. I challenge anybody out there. You come down to the Capitol Tuesday and you see somebody who you might have had a fight with, or y'all disagreed with on something. I challenge you to go up and hug that person and say, you know what, it's water under the bridge. Let's move forward together, because that's the only way we're going to get this rolling, is to go together. That's it. And I ain't going to spend no more time on that. I said what I said, and I mean what I say. Yeah. I'm going to deal with and talk to whoever I want to talk to. And if you want to deal with War Room or this person, or because I talked to this person, hey, but I'm not the person for you. We're going to focus on the work and get this work done. And see, that lets me know that the party, we don't have enough goals and agendas together. Mm-hmm. Because if we did, we would focus our attention on this way and stop looking left and right and punching the guy next to you.
it's weird, man.
Yeah, and another point too. Watch those folks in this grassroots community, right? Watch the folks that no matter what happens, there's always a disagreement. No matter what happens, there's always something going on because, there's a lot of money that flows through that capital and we don't see. And, obviously we got people all around us that's not only trying to buy our time, buy our influence, but they're constantly trying to keep things stirred up to where it never moves forward, right? Now, a lot of that stuff I've gotten out of, my system because I don't owe anybody anything. And people know that whenever, like, I don't ask for favors. I don't, I'm not out here. I am going to call on somebody when I need them, when they need me, and we're going to work through it. But watch as we go into spring. See, we're having less and less of the BS that we've been dealing with for years, right? Trump has come in, and he's so strong, and the promises made, promises kept, and so now it's like this big weight has been lifted off our shoulders. Like, okay, the White House is back in. We don't have bumbling, child sniffer. We're moving forward, right? Everything's going. That's less pressure that people like you and me who are in this have to even think about, right? We know Trump's up there. Now we're back down here, local, state. What are we doing, right? You watch out for those people who just can't let things go because guess what? It could be controlled opposition. I mean, what else do you call it, man? Because I ain't going to play like that. And I know you aren't either. So.
Oh, no. We can't. It's too much on the line.
Yes.
And I said this put it out on X. I say, hey, we got to stop acting like high school students. If you can't get along with somebody in a particular area to reach a goal, find somebody you can chop wood with. But by God, chop the wood, stay focused, keep your nose on your face, and move forward.
That's right. All right, so what I'm going to do, since we're approaching an hour, we're going to stay under an hour tonight. I promise you guys. But,
okay.
We had a lot of people watching. We had up to 200 at one time. That's amazing. And so I think it's safe to say that what I did with all my security on this end has worked, Antonio. So.
Oh, it worked. Wow.
So David Naha says, hey, y'all, see you Tuesday. David's a great Patriot. We can't wait to have you down there. Christopher Raley, good to see you this evening, sir. Carol Streeter, thank you for being with us. And let's see, there's so many comments here. I'm going to have to go down. And Lisa, hope you're feeling better. I have not called you on purpose because I know you were sick. A lot of people got sick from the inauguration. So
we had some at our church that was a couple people that was sick pretty bad. They didn't go to inauguration, but there's something kind of going around. They didn't come to church today, so no worries, guys. So when you see me Tuesday, you don't have to worry about it.
Right. Carol says, Roy, I saw people in South Georgia praising John Burns a few minutes ago. No doubt. That's a whole different story. I mean, John Burns, the information, you might help me with that. There's a guy, is it Tim Short on X?
Let me see.
You know who I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
This guy is on fire releasing stuff about John Burns, like things that...
Tim Sharp.
Yes, Tim Sharp. I don't know this guy, but it might be a good bet to get him on the show.
His X is real Tim, then Sharp.
Yeah.
SHRP.
If you want to get down to the meat and potatoes of John Burns, wow. There's a ton of information being released right now about his dealings and who he's connected to and what's going on in South Georgia. And I can tell you firsthand, I speak to people from South Georgia who are really, really fed up with what's going on down there. So, I'm just telling you, I think they've opened up the can of worms that they wish they would have never wanted to open with this.
Yeah, they've opened one up.
Yeah,
they have.
And Chris said he didn't see any headlines that Carr has. Let's see. Carol, let's see. Trump labeled Mexican. Yeah, Trump labeled Mexican drug dealers. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I'm saying I can see them.
Oh,
I clicked
okay. Trump labeled Mexican drug dealers as terrorists. Yes, he did, and I'm 100% for that. Let's see here.
I'm trying to see how you can see how I can see more comments.
You may be able to. If
Sam comment. Hold on, I might have to mute it real quick because when I click on it,
Sharon, thank you for watching. Appreciate you, Sharon Holland.
there it is. Okay, I can see some now.
Okay. Yeah, pick any out you want.
Okay.
We got Chris lighting it up tonight.
Oh yeah, Chris, he be on that. He be on there lighting it up. Christina Benjamin, she said, and Speaker Byrne invited a man dressed as a woman to lead the devotional on the House floor. Yep,
That's
he did.
right.
I retweeted it.
That is correct.
Yep.
I got a
people-
Jared Lancaster in here. Let's see. It says the American people spoke at the voting booth by popular mandate, right, wrong, or indifferent. Amen. Let's see.
David he said, "There's no reason for fellow conservatives should be fighting against each other." You're absolutely right. Saying what we need to put behind us and stand together in unison. Yep, absolutely right. And and sometimes it's a situation where maybe people just don't vibe together, and I'm 100%. But don't go to somebody speaking on behalf of somebody else and telling them you're not going to have nothing to do with them because they talk to somebody you don't like. I mean, that's
right.
so high school, man.
Big
So
time.
high school.
I agree. Jared says, Jared Lancaster, I hope the people of Georgia demand that the Constitution of Georgia be followed. The support of Mr. Moore is pivotal. Please support peacefully. Now, that's 100% correct. And that all boils down to we're going to have to change the way we make laws, but it involves everybody looking. It involves everybody getting involved with their legislators and finding out what laws are coming up, because a lot of these are already completely written in almost foreign language by lawyers that work for every one of these people, and they weren't designed for you to read, okay? They're not designed for you to read and figure out. It's a bunch of jargon, so it's up to us to be looking. Let's see. Ray Blankenship, he's going to be with us Tuesday. He says, we're going to make sure our senator will be let in to represent us. Patriots need to show up. Amen. Amen. Let's see. Christopher said, did you see Simp Kemp on video after Colton was arrested? Yes, I did. All smiles. Let's see here. Georgia GOP needs to hold some of these fools accountable. I agree with that. Sam Carnline says, radical constitutionalist has a nice ring to it. Amen to that. I mean, really, radical constitutionalist. Can you believe it? I mean, that's just how long we've been asleep at the wheel.
Wow. Yeah.
But, wow.
Because you call it, it all makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe a man shouldn't go in a woman's bathroom, you might probably be called a radical.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a Speaker of the House who actually allowed a mentally ill person, the medical society, not that they have any credibility, but back in the day, this was classified as gender dysphoria, which is a mental condition. And John Burns allowed a man, transgender or whatever he was, to lead a devotional or whatever they did, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm. That's probably a favor.
We're the radicals, though.
Yeah.
Because we want to follow the rule of law.
Yep. And Christopher says, when will the GSP be held accountable? So we'll see about that. I have a feeling we'll know a little bit more about the direction of things Tuesday. We'll see. Sam says, Colton doesn't toe the totalitarian line. No, he absolutely doesn't. He also says, cronyism is the order of the Gold Dome. It really is. The corporatocracy, oh, Lord, especially the foreign corporatocracy that's going through the state. And, I think Governor Kemp trolled us the other day, because I saw one of his tweets that he'd sent out, and we're always talking about how we're saying Georgia's number one place to do business. Well, he ended a tweet with that, because Georgia's number one place to do business, and I thought, I wonder if that's a little slight right there. Don't tell me he's not paying attention, but
man,
a lot of good comments tonight, guys. Christina Benjamin, yes. Talk about the bird flu gain of function of lab in Athens, Georgia. That's still a hot topic. In fact, God, I mean, who knows what's going on with the bird flu and the gain of function? I've seen 2 or 3 videos today talking about how this stuff is jumping. We're not seriously, and what this influenza is going around People are talking about how they wish they were dead Ray has just gotten over this sickness, and he was down for nearly 10 days. Okay. It's no joke, and we've got to be careful because they're saying it's like a pneumonia / influenza, RSV. It's nasty stuff out there. So, one thing I do want to cover.
Yeah.
All right. Hey,
there's the Doge announcement. Or no?
Well, no, basically, because I know we're running for time tonight and it's 9:01. So one thing I want to cover real quick, it has to do with election integrity, and I think you're going to agree with me, but we talk about all this stuff about grassroots and elevating people and fighting against this machine. There's a caveat to every bit of this, and it's very, very simple. We have election integrity grassroots people still fighting at the Capitol, still fighting lawsuits, still digging up data from every single election cycle, and it all boils down to one thing, and that's Dominion voting systems, okay? I am a firm believer that unless we get rid of Dominion voting systems in the state of Georgia, that there may be little recourse in getting a grassroots person elected, right? And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't continue on, right? We can multifaceted this thing. But I want everybody to understand out there, the election battle is not over. Just because Donald Trump won for the presidency, okay, just because we had a landslide victory does not mean that we still do not need to eradicate Georgia from Dominion voting system, because it is being protected right now by the top brass in this state. And if we don't have another system in place, if we don't go to paper ballots, if we don't get rid of it, we will never be able to elect a grassroots candidate, because we'll never be able to have a free and fair election. So it needs to stay in y'all's forefront. It needs to stay in our forefront that as we continue on and the landscape starts to change, don't give up on that. And then people are going to tell you, oh, they're sick and tired of it. I'm sick. No. Do you understand, Georgia, out of all of these states, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, yep, we're the only ones that still have it. And we're the only ones still being told that they're tired of hearing about it. Okay? And Garland Favorito said it on the video. It's coming up for renewal this year. So if you think that we can't do anything about it, we still have time. We still can. So
we'll have to get with Garland and see when that date is, and just I guess start making the phone calls or whatever we think we need to do to tell the legislators, hey, you sign this again, we're pretty much done.
That's
right. I don't know what the point of a representative is at that point, Roy. Well, if they're not going to listen to the will of the people.
The only thing, guys, let me be very clear. If ex-governor, I'm not talking about Brian Kemp, let's just say Governor Bob was to say, guys, we got these election integrity people here. What we need to do is sit them down at a table. We'll take them in a room over here and sit them down at a table and get out the chalkboard and say, guys, we're tired of dealing with this. What do you think would fix this election? And we sit down and listen to 10, 20 of them.
Yeah.
Within a half hour of just that one thing alone, within a half hour, the election integrity issue would be completely solved, and they would have a clear path forward, and everybody would shut up, and everybody would be. That's all it really takes. So don't let anybody tell you that it's too complicated or has anything to do with the contract. Literally, Governor Bob can sit down with these people and listen to them for a half hour